Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to wrap up the last full week of musicals here on the Casa D18 Studios channel on Renegades Reviews, and we're going to take a look at Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge, starring Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, Jim Broadbent, Richard Roxburgh, John Leguizamo, Kylie Minogue, and the voice of Ozzy Osbourne. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today is the last day of the last full week of musicals here on the Casa D18 Studios channel on Renegades Reviews. We've only got one musical left. That'll be Monday. But today we're going to take a look at Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge. And our movie begins in the year 1900 in Paris, France, as a young writer named Christian, who is depressed about the recent death of the woman that he loved, begins to write their story on a typewriter. 1 year earlier, Christian arrives in the Montmartre district of Paris, France, in order to join the Bohemian movement. He suddenly meets Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec and his troupe of performers who are writing a play called Spectacular, Spectacular. Once Christian helps them complete the play, they go to the Moulin Rouge, where they hope that Christian's talents will impress Satine, the star performer and courtesan, who in turn will then convince Harold Zidler, the proprietor of the Moulin Rouge, to let Christian write the show. However, Zidler plans to have the wealthy, powerful, and unscrupulous Duke of Monmouth sleep with Satine in exchange for potential financing so that he can convert the club into a theater. That night, Satine mistakes Christian for the Duke and attempts to seduce him by dancing with him before retiring to her private chamber with him in order to discuss things privately. But eventually, Christian reveals his true identity. After the Duke interrupts them, Satine claims that the two of them and the Bohemians were just rehearsing Spectacular, Spectacular. Aided by Zidler, Christian and the Bohemians then improvise a story for the Duke about a beautiful Indian courtesan who falls in love with a poor sitar player that she mistook for an evil Maharaja. After approving the story, the Duke agrees to invest, but only if Satine and the Moulin Rouge are turned over to him. Later, Satine claims that she is not in love with Christian, but eventually he wears down her resolve and they kiss. During construction at the Moulin Rouge, Christian and Satine's love deepens, while the Duke becomes increasingly frustrated with all the time that he thinks Satine is spending with Christian working on the play. So, in order to calm him, Zidler arranges for Satine to spend the night with the Duke and angrily tells her to end her affair with Christian. She misses the dinner when she falls unconscious, leading a doctor to diagnose a fatal case of consumption. She tries to end things by telling Christian that their relationship is endangering the production, but Christian writes a secret psalm to include in the show that affirms their unending, passionate love. At the final rehearsal, Nini, a can-can dancer who is jealous of Satine's popularity, hints to the Duke that the play represents the relationship between him, Christian, and Satine. Enraged by the revelation, the Duke demands that the show end with the courtesan marrying the Maharaja instead of the sitar player. Satine promises to spend the night with him, after which they will decide on the perfect ending. Ultimately, she fails to seduce the Duke due to her feelings for Christian, and Le Chocolat, one of the cabaret dancers, saves her from the Duke's attempt to rape her. Christian decides that he and Satine should leave the show behind and run away to be together, while the Duke vows to kill Christian. Zidler finds Satine in her dressing room, panicking. Zidler tells her that her illness is fatal and that the Duke is planning on murdering Christian, and if she wants Christian to live, she will cut him off completely and be with the Duke. After mustering up all of her acting abilities, she complies, which leaves Christian devastated. On the opening night of the show, in front of a full audience, Christian denounces Satine and vows to give her to the Duke before walking off the stage. But Toulouse-Lautrec cries out from the rafters, quote, "The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return." This spurs Satine to sing their secret psalm, causing Christian to change his mind. After Zidler and the company thwart several attempts by the Duke and his bodyguard to kill Christian, the show ends with Christian and Saltine proclaiming their love as the Duke storms out of the cabaret. The audience erupts in applause, but Satine collapses once the curtains close. Before dying, she tells Christian to write their story so that she will always be with him. In the present, the Moulin Rouge is in disrepair. The Duke and the Bohemians have left, and Christian finishes his and Satine's story, declaring that their love will live forever as our movie comes to its end. This was the second time that I had seen Moulin Rouge in its entirety, and while I do feel it's a little bit slow moving for my tastes, the story overall I think is a great story. The way that they use the modern love songs throughout the movie to kind of dictate the story of Christian and Satine, I thought was awesome. You know, it's similar to Rock of Ages in that, with it being, established songs set in the period, except with this, it's songs that didn't even exist when the period that the movie is taking place in was going. All you need is love, silly love songs. Things like this didn't exist in 1900. So that's the only problem with what they did, in my opinion, as much as I love these songs. But it's a blessing and a curse, because by using these more modern songs that people today know, they're able to suck them into this period of 1900 and just kind of get them into this love story that's unfolding in front of them. But by using these modern songs, people are like, yeah, that song wasn't around back then. This, it's a double-edged sword. But I did enjoy that. I thought Ewan McGregor did amazing. I thought Ewan McGregor did amazing. I thought Nicole Kidman did amazing. Prior to seeing this movie for the first time, I had no idea either one of them could sing like that. They both did an amazing job with their vocal work. John Leguizamo was hilarious in this. His part was minimal, but it was good. The gentleman who played the Duke, forgive me for blanking on his name right now, he was a good dastardly villain. And then the man who played Zidler, he started off kind of selfish and self-centered and just only thinking about the Moulin Rouge and what was going to benefit him. But by the end of the story, he's had that baby face turn and he's like, look, the Duke is a dick and Satine and Christian deserve to be with each other. So he's defending Christian now, after trying numerous times to get Satine to break up with him and end their relationship because of what he wanted for his club. Great storyline arc for him. The sets, the cinematography, the costumes were just amazing. This isn't my favorite musical that I've done this month, but considering that musicals aren't my bag anyways, this is definitely up there like middle of the pack for me. This is the soundtrack in the movie where we get Pink, Maya, Little Kim doing Lady Marmalade. So there's that for this. I mean, you don't really get to hear it in the movie, you get the original version. And then I love how this has been parodied in the past. If you go back to my Christmas reviews and check out my review of It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, which if you haven't seen, I'll link it up here. But during the course of that, they completely parody Moulin Rouge, calling it the Moulin Scrooge. And Miss Piggy is Saltine instead of Satine, with Kermit in the Christian role, and so on and so forth. Fozzie is Zidler. But I had seen that prior to actually seeing the movie legit because of me and my Muppet fandom. So when I sat through and saw this for the first time, I'm sitting here cracking up because I get the joke even more now. And then seeing it again for this, you're still cracking up because you're just imagining the Muppets in these roles and you can't help but laugh. You just can't. I do enjoy Moulin Rouge. Like I said, it's not a 5-star for me. When it comes to my rating for Moulin Rouge, I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 because there are parts where I feel like it drags. And then, like I mentioned about the songs, it's a double-edged sword because the songs that they use didn't exist in 1900s, but it's also what helps attracts people's attention to the movie. So that right there, that's why I give this film 3.5 out of 5 stars. But what do you guys think of Moulin Rouge? Let me know if you're watching the premiere. Leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in at the top of the hour, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as to the Jeff Meacham Network, as we get together once again for a brand new installment of The Dads, Not Always on Wrestling, as the West Coast professor Jeff Meacham and myself discuss the top 10 biggest surprise entries in Royal Rumble history. Unfortunately, we had to move the show to today instead of doing it on Monday as normal because my schedule and Jeff's schedule just could not sync up to where we could film it. So it is being aired today, top of the hour, and that is why. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, will be another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And it's new release Saturday. We'll be taking a look at Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, starring Gregory Mann, Ewan McGregor, David Bradley, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, Kate Blanchett, Ron Perlman, Finn Wolfhard, and John Turturro. And then at the top of the hour, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, it'll be time for some pay-per-view watch-along coverage as we cover the Royal Rumble. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, myself and the Simple Man Noah Foster will be on the call. The Heeb Man James Hebert will be joining for color commentary during the 2 Rumble matches. And everyone's favorite statistician, the stat boy Mike Caldwell, will be joining us during the Rumble matches to give us all of the need-to-know stats regarding those 2 matches. And then, immediately following that, once again, here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, and the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, it'll be time to open the doors for open mic night. Myself, the Heeb Man James Hebert, the Simple Man Noah Foster, the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham, and whoever else decides to come through the club doors, step up to the microphone and join us as we discuss the latest wrestling topics for the week. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, Renegades Reviews, new release Saturday, Royal Rumble watch along coverage, open mic night, and that's just in the next 36 hours. So, if you don't want to miss out on that, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, Pay-Per-View PLE watch-along coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of Nicole Kidman, fans of Ewan McGregor, fans of John Leguizamo, fans of silly love songs. Share it with them. Only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized and make some money on these videos that I work so hard on. Thank you once again to everyone who joins me and is tuned in today. It means so much more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.